One of the most fundamental things you can measure in science is length. Length is the distance between one point and another point. In physical science class, we measure things using the meter. This is a meter stick. You may be more familiar with a yard. This is a yardstick. A yard and a meter are very similar, but as you can see, a meter is just a little bit longer than a yard. The meter is the base unit of length in the SI system. To measure something smaller, like this laser pointer, you might want to use centimeters. This laser pointer is 6.5 centimeters long. To measure something even smaller, like the width of this paperclip, you might want to use millimeters. This paperclip is 1 millimeter wide. To measure something the size of a human hair, you might want to use the micrometer as your unit of measure. The micrometer is also commonly called a micron. To measure something the size of this bacteria, you might want to use the nanometer as your unit of measure. To measure something like this flagpole, you might want to use the meter as your unit of measure. This flagpole is 20 meters tall. To measure something like this highway, you might want to use the kilometer as your unit of measure. 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. 1 meter equals 100 centimeters. So I can create a conversion factor where 1 meter over 100 centimeters equals 1. Now I can multiply a number by this conversion factor, and I won't change the value of that number or that unit. Let's take an example of 2 meters. 2 meters, and I want to change that to centimeters. So I can take my 2 meters and multiply by the conversion factor 100 centimeters for every 1 meter, and I will get 200 centimeters. Notice that the units of meter cancel and leave me with the unit that I'm looking for, which is centimeters. Another way to convert from one unit of measure to another in the metric system is to use this stair-step tool. Each rung on the stair-step tool is a factor of 10, and your base unit is placed in the middle. So let's take again the example of how many centimeters are in 2 meters. So I will choose my base unit to be a meter, and to get down to the prefix for centi, I must move 2 stair steps down. This is equivalent to multiplying by 100. Or I could do this. I place my 2, and I know the decimal is just after the 2. If I move 2 rungs down, then I'm also going to move my decimal 2 spots to the right in the same direction that I moved down the stair step tool. And so 2 meters equals 200 centimeters. Now let's look at an example where we go up the stair step. So let's start again with 2 meters. And I want to know how many kilometers are equivalent to 2 meters. So I start with my base unit of a meter, and I'm going to move 3 steps up the stair step chart. So if I have my number 2, I know my decimal is just after the 2, so I'm going to move 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3. So 2 meter is 0.002 kilometers.